Yeah, so we're down we go, way down we go. Whoa, you let your feet run wild. Time has come as we oh my. Do you dare to look me right in the eyes? Dog, yeah, someday we run you down till you fall, no more, and we're down.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Huddle Up Podcast. I'm your host, Drew England. Thank you guys for joining us again. This is 2 episodes this week. I kind of at least try to do one, but had to take advantage of another one here and get somebody on that some of you guys are familiar with. But Coach, thanks for joining us, David Glidden. Thanks so much for joining us, taking time out of your busy day with your family and everything like that to hop on with me.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. Fired up. If you hear the little one, you mentioned my family, so if you hear the little one running around in the background screaming, that's all it is. but I appreciate it, man. I'm excited to be here and fired up to do this.
I've got dogs and stuff like that too, so you never know what you're going to see in all this. But before we get going, I want to thank our sponsors, the Jeremy Hodge Auto Group down in Ardmore. Take the drive down 35 if you're going to the DFW area. They got used, brand new, pre-owned, everything you need. They got 3 lots to choose from: Jeremy Hodge Chevrolet, Toyota of Ardmore, and Jeremy Hodge Honda. They thank them so much for sponsoring the podcast. Also, Gridiron Spice Company, my boys down there that coach high school football in the DFW area. They got a spice company. They love to grill. Use that code 10% off to get some spices. Go over to gridironspiceco.com. And then obviously our boy Mark Clayton, Livv Audio, got the headphones. So you guys go out and get the 20% off promo by using the code Huddle Up. But yeah, we'll get right into it. Just kind of tell us a little bit about how football became a part of your life, and then just kind of your journey through football.
Man, it's fun. It's actually like when I think about football now, it's crazy because I think of the present with everything, but in reality, what it was going way back to when I was a kid, like just pure joy of honestly all sports. It was so much more than just football. I got an older brother, and that's really where football started for me. Like we played all sports growing up. Man, we were lucky to live in a cul-de-sac in our neighborhood. So like the little circle we had at the end of the cul-de-sac was perfect, right?
You know what I mean? It was your own little playground.
That's right. Like we played everything, man, from everything in the cul-de-sac. So we had our backyard was solid. So it really, for me, football started way back then with my brother. Actually loved the game a lot more than me. Man, I was a hoops fanatic. I played all the sports, basketball, baseball, everything. But in that cul-de-sac is where I played basketball forever growing up from the time I was, I would say from the time I could walk. But we were always playing everything, like I said. And my brother is really the one I got to give credit to for, like, that's where the love of football came. And so the big point in my life was actually in 9th grade. I didn't play football. My brother was in his senior year, and watching him play his senior year, like that's what drew me back to football. So a lot of things between then and now, but that's kind of a big circle moment of where it all started, really.
Yeah, and so going back to your days, you played at Mustang, and then had the opportunity to go play at the next level at Oklahoma State. What was that journey like, and when did you know, hey, I could really probably go play at the next level?
Man, that's a funny question. Like, I was so busy or wrapped up in other sports, like in high school, just playing everything, going from one to the next, that I didn't even think about college football until the day I went up to Oklahoma State on a junior day. They invited me up randomly. I hadn't really been recruited by them or anything. I don't know. I guess my junior year had just wrapped up, so it was late in January or whatever it was. And when they invited me up, that's when things kind of got real. And I still, at that time, I went up there with my mom and my brother, and it was like, yo, this is cool. blah, 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 whatever. Well, Dana Holgerson had just got there as the OC. And that was like my connection, really. So whenever the first half of that day, to be honest with you, they didn't really, I was just kind of along for the ride, if you will. Didn't really even know what recruiting was all about. And then the last half of that day, it flipped between Coach Holgerson, Coach Meacham, and Coach Gundy, all those guys, man, Gunnar Brewer. Those guys all, like, it all, when that, I first met them, I guess you would say up there that day, that's when it hit. They offered me a scholarship a couple of days later. I committed to them again, I was so oblivious to what the process was.
You're
I
like,
literally just wanted.
Yeah.
Exactly right,
awesome.
man.
Hey,
that's exactly right. So
on playing the cat position, did he sell you on that one?
So I kind of lost you for a second. Coach Holgerson, what?
I'm playing the cat position, the C.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Well, that was
what
kind
is
of
that?
The C was like the slot receiver or something like that. He always called it the cat, and that was like the versatile guy that kind of did everything and went, back line up in the backfield, did all kinds of stuff. But he probably, evolved as it was. But I remember back in the day that was the biggest thing. Is I was like, man, I could play some cat, and so it was like the personal guy on the field. And so I remember those old school, plays he used to draw up for guys like that. So I was just curious.
Now, he probably did. Honestly, he probably did. But I don't. Man, those conversations, like that day and all those times, those conversations were so far above my head because, like I say, recruiting to me was just like, I literally didn't even think about it until that day of what playing college football would be like. Because I always thought I would play baseball. Eventually, as time went on, I got older. I love basketball. Kind of think I became better at baseball, and it was like that's where I thought it was going to be. Football starts happening. Sophomore year of high school, football really kind of took off, and then go up to recruiting day at Oklahoma State, and the rest was history, if you will. So it was like, I don't even know if those conversations with Coach Holgerson happened, probably, but they're so far above my head, man. So it was
awesome.
It was cool though. I was fortunate for sure, I would say, but that was the moment it really hit me when I went up there that day. Because I honestly had not really thought about it. I was just an Oklahoma State fan, man. So I know you got your OU stuff back there.
Hey, that's okay. That's all
no
right.
Love lost from
football is football.
I'm good, man.
Yeah, that is it. I am. It's always good to talk to people that have that experience and everything like that. And for me, I went to the next level playing baseball, not football. But I had some different looks and stuff like that when I was there, but nothing to the D1 degree there. But so you went through your playing career. I know you got a shot at a practice squad a little bit with Atlanta and then a couple other teams. But then once football as a player kind of was slowing down and you realized, all right, maybe that it's time to kind of transition and do something else. When's coaching first kind of entered in your mind as a real path for you?
Man, as a real path, I don't know, not till I actually started doing it, I guess. But like so my position coach in college, Casey Dunn, was always on me about getting into coaching from the moment I got done, or I say the moment I got done. Really the moment like him and our relationship grew. So the moment probably my junior year ended, even going into my senior year, was like he started putting this bug in my ear of coaching and being a GA for him and blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. Well, so I was thinking about it, but then as I really witnessed and started thinking about that and witnessed what was going on in the receiver room at Oklahoma State, man, I love those guys. Love them all. Great relationships to this day with a lot of guys in there. But I always told Coach Dunn, I was like, no shot. I'm not doing this. I see what you deal with on a daily basis. I was like, I'm not doing this, man. I'm going to go do something else, whatever. So anyway, like you mentioned, when I got cut from the Falcons and I went back home, I actually started just kind of volunteer coaching at Mustang High School. And after my first or second day, that's when I realized, like, man, I see now why people do this and why they love it. And man, it's the truth. It's the best. It's the best. And
I did it
still be a part of the team.
For 15 years. And it's just one of those deals where it's just one of those where you're like you said, I had that moment too, where I was like, man, I see what the front end looks like and all I don't want to deal with all this. But then you kind of, that first moment where you're like, oh man, I could really do this. And not only that, for me, it might be different, but I approached it first. from an X's and O's standpoint and saying, man, I'd like to win games. I'd like to do all this. Yeah, that's great and everything. But then I started realizing that it's a much bigger picture and that you
That's
can
right.
really make an impact on somebody's life. And that was when I really kind of dove into it. And I said, yes, that winning and everything like that will be a byproduct of what we do as coaches. But what really matters is building those relationships with those young men and guys that, yes, everybody sees the Friday and Saturday, and Sunday on the field, but they don't see the behind the scenes. They don't see kind of the work that we put in and day out and just the relationships and those guys, you spend more time with those guys than you do your families,
Yeah,
and
for sure.
especially when you get to the level that, you have seen it in college and everything like that, it's a 24/7, grind. And so for you, like what was your why behind the coaching once you really got in and kind of got in, head first?
You just said it. You just said it. What
Yeah.
you just said was perfect. Honestly, I couldn't agree more with you. Like, it was out there for me. It was always like, it was being a part of a team for one, and that's something I live for to this day. Of like, always putting others first, and like, because that's what it's all about at the end of the day. Like,
Yep.
we play a team game. Like, football is the most team game there is, and so um, being able to be around the guys and have an impact on guys, because you really do. Like, as a coach, like, you have influence in people of any stature, I guess you would say. When people look up to you or people are depending on you, you have influence. And I truly believe that goes one way or the other. It's typically positive or negative. It rarely is just like right here as nothing. And so as a coach, like, you have that ability to impact. And that's what I realized really, really soon. And I didn't realize all the people that had impacted me looking back. All the coaches I
Yeah.
had way, way back in the day, man, those and how much they really did impact me. So there's so much to the game, X's and O's and blah blah blah, all the stuff that's phenomenal. It's a blast. We get addicted to it. We really do, because
Yep.
it is cool. It's cool as hell, man. But like,
Yep.
the part that you just said of being able to impact human beings, because you deal with people at all different levels and all different walks
Yep.
of life and all different dynamics. So it's man, it's phenomenal. So that's, to me, that's the best part about it all.
Yeah, and I agree. I think a lot of people, and this is the part that I think a lot of others, like the casual fan or people that may not understand football as a whole, don't really understand, is just the time. And there's no other sport that you prepare for one game a week. There's other, like basketball, you play 3 or 4 times a week sometimes, or baseball, you got a couple games here and there, during the week. But football is the ultimate preparation sport. There's an off season, there's a grind, and it's all working towards well, now it's like 17 or 18 or 19 weeks, whatever it is. But, for the most part, it's, 14 weeks a year, and if you're lucky, you get the playoffs and all that stuff, but you're preparing for, August through December or January. And I just think that that's so unique because, you're planning, you're prepping for the game on Friday or Saturday or whenever it is, all week, And so I don't think a lot of people understand, you don't just show up to the games on Friday and Saturdays and roll it out there and let's go play. It's not like the cul-de-sac, like you said, you don't just show up and play ball. So I guess the next segue into this is, how things have changed in football, basically. And we can start with the high school recruiting, because I know that you've touched on this and you've been around high school recruiting and you've kind of seen it evolve since the transfer portal, since the NIL, since things have come about. But for me, here's a question that I'd like to answer, and in the comments, if you guys want to answer this: is high school recruiting less important now with the portal?
Man, less important? No.
Okay.
Less dependent on? Yes. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. Like, I look back on it, I'm like, man, I wonder if I would have been a player in today's day and age of college football, would I have been playing FBS football right from the jump? I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, I was
Yeah.
very fortunate, and like, and at the same time, I had to be developed tremendously, and it's not only physically but like mentally was huge, man. I was so far behind when I first got there. So at the same time, not just coming out of high school, but even when I got there, would they have even kept me? And so I don't know if I could say, man, like I'd be curious to know what you think about it, honestly, but because
Yeah.
there's a lot of directions I could go with this question. But
Sure.
to sum it up, just as like what the answer is, point blank, do I think it's less important? No, but I think it's less dependent on, yes, because there are people, when you look at the people that are kind of like established, I guess you would say, the programs that are established, as to say in college football, there is still a really good groundwork, a ground base
Yeah.
of high school recruiting, right? And like when you look at a lot of programs and a lot of their key guys, yeah, you're gonna always, now just in the world we live in, it's like the NFL. There's always gonna be plug and place of free agents, which is now the portal, right? Like that's
Yep.
just inevitable. That's gonna happen. But a lot of the like ground base of programs of what you want to establish culture on and all those kind of things. I do that in quotes, but like that's real. You got
Yeah.
to do that. Is based off the guys that you bring in from high school. So
Sure.
it's a
Well, and
fine
I think
line, man.
too, absolutely, and I think there's another thing that you have seen, especially in the last maybe handful of years, is you haven't seen programs like, when Nick Saban and Alabama were going, you haven't seen programs be able to stack 4 and 5 star guys on top of each other and load up out of the high school rankings because of what you just said in the transfer portal. And so for me, I think the better question is, how do we recruit now the high school ranks and everything like that with the transfer portal and guys wanting to get a plug and play guy, and you don't have to spend time developing, but at the same time you're going to need those high school guys for in case your coach leaves or your whatever happens, and you have to rely on those high school guys. And so I guess my question too is, what's the fine line between plug and play guys and finding the guys out of high school that you can develop and ultimately turn into a guy that's going to get you reps and be able to give you some time during a game.
Yeah, for sure, man. It's preference, honestly. If I had to put one word to it of what you just asked and said, like you would, if you asked this same question to 100 different coaches across college football at all different levels and positions, offense, defense, the whole variety of it, you would probably get, almost 100 different answers with a lot of words around them, honestly. And so it's going to be preference of what you prefer. Some guys think, because if you're a new coach going in somewhere new, like you got to bring guys with you, and you got to be able to compete. Now it's not a secret that you can't just go somewhere and compete right away.
No, and I think a good example was Kirk Cincinnati at Indiana the last couple of years.
Oh, for sure.
Okay, he did not bring in quote 5-star guys, but he brought in guys that he knew that would fit his system, that was preference, and that could, and obviously as he won, he was able to get other guys from other places to come in, especially after that first year they were really successful, and then you started seeing that melting pot of different talent. And so for some people, it's as easy as, hey, just win games and they'll guys that'll come. But other schools, like you said, at different levels, it's a little bit tougher because then you're having to rely on, all right, the leftovers or guys that may not necessarily play at the, power 4 level or anything like that. And then it almost seems like that with some programs that the high school recruits are, kind of the last, hey, all right, we need 3 or 4 guys left in our class that we didn't get in the transfer portal. And a lot of it has to do with, I don't agree with the 2 transfer portal cycles. I think it should just be 1. I don't like the fall and then you can leave again if the spring doesn't go as right for you. And so maybe that's part of the problem, is that the schedule and the system that we're currently on allows guys to just be able to bounce around and not, really, it's just kind of almost like free agency without, anything going on. And so I don't really know, like you said, I think it has to do with preference, but at the same time, you have to be really selective in, because you could get burned by some guys. You could bring in 11 guys in the fall or right after the season's over, and then they might not make it to August, No
doubt. Now that is correct me if I'm wrong here, man. That has changed now, right? Or is that not approved yet? Like the one cycle or the one transfer window?
It is actually. I think it did get
That
approved.
it's just now. Like this is the
Yep.
first time it's going into place, right?
Yep.
Because you're
And
right.
so,
But what you just said is exactly right.
yep.
You like maintaining a roster within that um system,
Yep.
man, that's tough. That's tough. And
Yep.
just giving guys always to have a way out, man, that's just it just goes honestly, it goes the opposite direction of what college football was always about.
Yep.
Let me ask you this real quick because you brought the name up of Kurt
Yep.
Signetti, right? Did you see his videos recently that came out about those things that he did a podcast with a couple guys or something?
It was the
About
triple option. It was with Urban Meyer and those guys from Fox.
yeah, did you see any of that?
Yeah, I saw some of it, and then they said, "Well, hey, where's the national championship trophy?" And he's like, "It's about 5 feet in front of me." He said, "But I don't want to stare at it too long because I'll get complacent. We'll get complacent."
Okay,
You know,
that's good. I didn't
like
even
that,
see
but I don't
that.
know what else. I saw clips. I didn't see like the whole interview, but
Me
what
either. Me either. I saw the. I was just gonna ask you. I saw the part about their coaching hours, and then they were. Or not
Oh
say their coaching.
yes,
Yeah,
I
that.
did share one where he's like he did say, and this was funny to me because I've been on staffs that like you're working all weekend, and then with college you're doing the same thing. But I thought it was funny because he did say he goes, okay, we come in, we get our work done, practice is over. Coaches could go home; they don't have to stay. And I was like, wow. I was like, I've never been on a staff where because you're always like, if you're the young guy or if you're on, a staff and you're kind of new to it, or you don't really have, not sure of that relationship with the head coach, you're just like, well, I'm just going to stay because, he's going to see me here. I'm not necessarily, my work is done, but I'm going to wait until he leaves. But I thought that was good. He's like, I'm not roaming the halls. I'm not checking for guys. Like if they have work to do, yeah, they'll stay. But I want them to go home and I want them to experience, their family and have time. And I thought that was just really eye-opening and interesting because I know that there's certain people, and you probably know some head coaches that are not that way, that yes, there's a lot of work to be done and there's not a knock on that, but at the same time to have that kind of freedom for your staff and that or that transparency with it to tell them, and they understand that. I wonder how many of them actually do that and actually leave and go home.
No doubt, man.
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting too. But yeah, that was really eye-opening to me because I know, like typically, how we used to do it in high school was, we would, your game would be done on Friday night. You'd come in the morning. You would have a lift with your team. You'd do film and stuff with the guys, and then after that, you would, put that game to bed on Friday night or whatever it was. And then you would go in and start game planning, and you would already kind of have been working on it a little bit through the week, and you kind of watching film you're always kind of a step ahead usually. And that's kind of how I was. Yeah. I was focused on that week and what we had to do there, but I was always kind of looking a little bit ahead of, cause you're always doing that as a coach. And then Sunday was really all right, let's get the game plan together. Let's, depth charts. Let's look at, their scouting report. Let's do all that stuff. And that's kind of back to the preparation and stuff that I said earlier. And then Monday, you've got your install, your walkthrough, hey, this is, basically putting the scouting report in front of your players. And then Tuesdays was, get after it. That was usually our hardest practice, full pads, stuff like that. And then Wednesday was depending on Tuesday. I always had a lot of head coaches that were like, all right, we're going to go hard. We may go harder on Wednesday if, Tuesday doesn't work out. But most of the time it was just shells. Sometimes we did go full pads. And then Thursday was kind of your walkthrough, your script practice. And then obviously Friday was go play the game, and then you do it all over again. So, but yeah, I thought that was very interesting that Signetti put that out there. So
yeah, no doubt it was because it was funny. Like, I don't know because I don't know him from Adam. I don't know anything about him coaching, but it was like well, I'm not saying him. I'm saying when you looked at Urban Meyer, his face during that whole time.
I did.
He's like, that looks suspicious to me.
He's like, I don't think that's what we did, but
yeah, I don't know. So
it's hard to argue. The last 2 years.
Man, both of them. I mean, so to each their own, right? If you're winning, you're winning, whatever it takes.
I'm sure Nick Saban's stories are probably not hey, you guys could go home, and enjoy your families. But
Yeah, I
like
don't
you
know about
said,
that.
it's preference. It's just like with players and stuff like that. It's how the guy in charge is wants to do it, and then it's fall in line and do all that stuff. And I wanted to ask you too about a lot of these teams, a lot of these programs now are going to GM models like the
Yeah.
NFL. How do you feel about the GM model? And I what do you like? Maybe what do you don't like about that and kind of that trajectory of being more like a true farm club of the NFL?
Yeah, I mean, I think, I do think the GM model is necessary, and however you want to term it, if it is the GM or whatever, like, monetarily, it's like it's got to be done, just
Yeah,
because of the finances that are within the game of college football now when it comes to the players. And so, um, yeah, I do think it's necessary for those guys to be in house. And then, to what their role is of, I've heard multiple things across college football, to be honest with you, of how involved guys are with certain things. And I say
yeah,
certain things meaning like strictly roster management slash money management. And then
yeah.
are there other guys that
Recruiting.
are
Yeah,
that, yeah, with the recruiting, right? Because then
yeah,
some people still have their own separate recruiting
yep,
department. And it's like,
yep,
man, so when you start adding all that on top of it, now, yeah, you're paying money for your players, but you're really, the rest of your staff is still in place, and you just
yep.
put a
Well,
whole
and then you have a
other,
front office. Yeah,
for sure, right? So it's like
yep,
your expenses just went way through the roof too. Of
yep,
now, but is it necessary? Probably, but where's the fine balance to what you just said now? Like, because
yep,
there is, it's a front office that's roster management, which kind of used to be a recruiting department, used to do that, but now it's like you have a recruiting department slash roster management department,
yep.
which is your GM and his crew, and then your coaching department, and not to mention all the other departments that are also in the
Yeah,
building
your
around that
support
too that you
staff
deal
and
with.
everything. Yeah,
I mean, everything, right? Everything. So, yeah, I guess my view is just the fact that it's necessary, but I think, I don't know who, like, just, is it Indiana that you look at just because they just won the national title and doing the things that they did with in such a short time? Like, do you look at them and their model of it, or who? Like, somebody's got to have a great model of it, but finding the balance of those things, I think, is that's a huge deal, because I know that's tough. Like, that's not an easy thing to do, because really you start stepping on toes, to be honest with you, like
yeah,
between the recruiting department and your front office of, like, that is roster management. Like, and if somebody thought this was their role but it wasn't put to them directly, like, no, this ain't really your role anymore, now you start dealing with some things in house that can cause some conflict. So, direction from the top down is
yeah.
huge, and laying that groundwork out of, or that base of what this is going to look like, what's the
Having
funnel
that
from the
clear
top
picture.
down.
Yeah,
For sure, man, it's a big
yeah,
deal. So you gotta, it's communication. It's
yeah,
communication. Like, that's, I mean, like, I've seen the videos of Sean McVay recently. I love him. I think he's phenomenal. I think he's
yeah.
phenomenal. A lot of his perspectives, his views on things and coaching are I don't think he gets enough credit. Maybe he has or hasn't, has not. Maybe I just don't pay enough attention to when he does get credit. But I don't think he gets enough credit for how good he really is. But I know communication is a huge, huge deal for him,
Yep.
and I think that a lot of people should, in college football, maybe it's not as, maybe people view it as critical, but are they
Yeah.
actually, like, implementing that, system of
Yeah.
communication that needs to be taken, or that has to take place for, with how the new foundation of what college football is, with those new offices and what they look like as far as how your staff's laid out. So,
Sure. And I think a lot of it too with a good model, and I use this as a model because I kind of see a little bit about what's going on with Jim Nagy and what OU has been able to do as well. And they kind of uh, model it after a true, NFL franchise or program, because they have their front office and those guys will go in and roster management and do all this other stuff. And yes, I think the coaches are still a part of the recruiting aspect of, basically how it used to be, hey, you break down your state first, then you have your areas of nationally where you do your stuff. But I think a lot of it, gets taken off their plate, because then they can focus on the development, actually coaching their rooms and coaching their positions. And so I think with some of those models, I think it's really good for coaches to be able to not focus so much on the recruiting, but they still have, their chance. But at the same time, they can focus more on the coaching aspect of it. And that's something that I've kind of seen, especially with the bigger type of programs, when you're talking about the Ohio States, the Alabamas, the Oklahomas, all these, is they're starting to go to those models because they see that, hey, I want my coaches to coach and, spend a little less time recruiting, but they're still, have their hands in recruiting, but not to the degree of, how it used to be, I guess. But at the same time, does it hurt you because you're feeling like maybe some of these recruits are not getting the attention that they maybe want? But at the same time, I think with your front office understanding, all right, hey, we're targeting this guy. All right, we need, all hands on deck for him. And yeah, I think there's certain instances, but I like that aspect of being able to actually coach and focus on coaching. And I think that does good for some programs.
Yeah, no doubt. It goes to your efficiency piece, right? Like, so your communication and your efficiency of let the coaches coach, like they are going to have to, like, there's no doubt about it. They got to be involved in your recruiting piece, because at the end of the day, those players, especially when you're recruiting high school kids, those players who have parents at home, those parents and the players, like a high school kid, no matter how confident he may come across, at the end of the day, typically he's still only 18 years old, sometimes only 17, whatever it is. Like, he still wants to know, who am I going to be with every single day? When things fall apart, as far as like my day to day of, my head's all over the place. Who am I going to lean on when I go into a position meeting room with my guys? Like, who is my guy? Like, that's who it is. So they still have to be a part of it, no doubt. But it's where those other guys that you mentioned, man, in the GM roles and his staff, whatever that staff looks like, where is their communication coming in with that coach to getting all the information they need to him, and that they're gathering on the recruits, and whatever that looks like. Honestly, there's a whole lot that goes into that. Does the coach need to do it himself, or is the staff of the GM, are they getting the information and feeding it to him? Obviously, he's got to have communication with the kids no matter what, but now is he doing less of it and doing less of the digging and getting that background information because he has people doing that for him? And so there's just a fine line. Again, it's efficiency and communication at the end of the day. But I agree with you totally, man. The position coaches, those guys, coordinators, like, they got to somewhat be involved with it no matter what. I mean, there's no doubt.
I think it's never going to go away as long as, and you want that to happen, because you want to know what kind of player you're getting, whether it's out of the transfer portal or whether it's in the high school ranks, because you're not just going to, nowhere really do you have somebody that's just like, all right, he's going to handle it, and then when he gets here, we'll just introduce you. No, I don't think that's really how it works. I think you're going to have to see, okay, yeah, he's a good kid. His film looks good, everything like that. But, I want to meet him, and I want to kind of build a relationship with him and see if it's the right fit for our offense or defense. And then, if you're a coordinator, or, hey, the position group and everything like that. And so I've got a question for you. You being a, college coach, and you've seen, the high school recruiting and everything like that. What advice would you give to high school players out there who currently are looking and wanting to play at the next level?
Yeah, man, that's a really good one, because that's kind of loaded, if you will. Like, that's a loaded question.
I mean, what are the steps do you think that they can take to make themselves, the best, I guess, marketable as you would? And to give them the best opportunity to play at the next level, maybe a better way to phrase it.
No, I hear you. It's just, when I say loaded, I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just like that, man, there's a lot of different directions to that, because it's just like there's a lot of false reality that can go on with high school kids. Like,
well, and then now you have agents and all kinds of different things involved now that, when I was in, because I graduated in 2004, so we did not have agents. That was illegal. And it's still whatever it is, but I don't know about you, but things have changed a lot, and it will continue to.
No doubt. And so when I say that term, like, of false reality, it's what you just said. It's like, your head is being pumped of so many different things, whether that's from an agent, whether that's from social media, because a kid posts his touchdown on social media from Friday night, and now everybody's like, "Oh, you're going to play, blah blah blah. How is this? How is everybody not recruiting you? This is huge, blah blah, all that kind of stuff, right?" Like that's just a small piece of it. But anyway, like to answer your question, the advice that I would give kind of goes back to the core of like what I believe in just in general is keep your circle small. Keep your circle small of the people you trust, man, and just let your work speak for itself, and like
Man, that's
the
good.
whatever the production speak for itself, because all the other stuff, here's like everybody goes to trainers. I think they're awesome. I've done it in my past, and I think there can be a lot of benefit to it. But trainers can now be agents, and all the things together combined. I don't know,
Yep.
but man, just trust the work, and man, make sure your circle is small. The people that you're really, really listening to, your parents or whoever your guardians are, whatever that looks like. And if your people that are in that circle maybe aren't familiar with what the recruiting process looks like in not even in general, but at all. Some people just, what is recruiting like at all? You'd be surprised. Like I was coming out of high school, had no clue what it was like. Make sure you're just trusting the right people. And if you truly, truly are a kid that wants to go play college sports, whether it's football or whatever it is, make sure you are dedicated to that and the fact of just wanting to go play that sport and go get an education at the next level. And it's not, I'm only going to play this sport because I'm going to the highest level to get that notoriety of playing at Oklahoma or playing at wherever the big time schools that you see on ESPN every day. Because we all know the reality is that that's not the case for so many kids, for whatever the numbers are. I don't want to put out false numbers right now, right? But in general, you'd say 99% of kids, whatever, 98. And so I would say just make sure that's what you want to do. And if you do want to do that, obviously, like I said, listen to those people that have your best interest. And it's not a ton of people. It's a very minute group of people. And make sure you're going to play for the right reasons. Like, because you actually want to go play football, or you actually want to go play soccer or basketball or tennis or whatever your sport is. You're not just doing it for the notoriety, because eventually, man, that's going to burn out.
Yep.
That's going to burn out. And
I think too, to add to that is always understand what's next, like your next move or your next chapter, because like you said, football is not always going to be there. Like you cannot play forever, whether it's, hey, you ended in high school and you go on and get a degree in college and everything like that. There's nothing wrong with that. If you have an opportunity to go play at the next level and then it stops at college, nothing wrong with that. If by some, grace of God moment and everything like that, you're one of the 5% that gets to go play in the NFL and gets to make a career out of it, it's not going to go forever. And so for me, I always told guys, okay, what do you want to do? Make absolutely sure that's what you want to do. And then always have a plan after. Like always have a fallback, always have something that you can rely on, because football's not always going to be there, or sports not always going to be there. And I think that the academic piece is still very important in this day and time, because not everybody's going to go make that 7-figure NIL deal. Not everybody's going to go get this big endorsement deal when you get to the next level or when you go to the NFL. There's nothing wrong with playing and I love the walk-on story. They're few and far between now, but I always loved those stories of guys that they just wanted to play for the love of the game, and they knew they had an academic scholarship, and they got their classwork done, and they still had a great time playing football, and they were part of a team and did all that. And then they went on to be doctors and lawyers and very, very impactful people in society without playing sports. And so for me, I always told guys, make sure you have your foundation set first. Make sure you get that education. Make sure you have that thing to fall back on. Make sure you have that extra bullet in the chamber in case something goes wrong, because
for sure
you get a career-ending injury, and yes, you're still part of the team. Yes, you get to keep your scholarship, but then what's next? Is it coaching? Is it whatever it is? And there's a lot of great doors that could open because of the opportunities that you get and the GPA and the test scores that you have. So
that's why you go to school.
Yeah.
Everything.
And I know that's not the smart answer. I know that's not some of the things that kids want to hear, but it sets you up for so much
reality.
You know. Yeah.
Bro, that's reality. What you just said is such reality. That's why the NCAA, it's like when you go back to the very beginning of the basics of college sports, what you just said, that's what it's about.
Yeah.
Right. And when sports end, you have something else. And that's why the degree is still so critical. And it's a huge thing. Yep. And so, like what you just said is so true. Don't try to downplay it afterwards, man. I'm giving you credit for what you just said.
I'm going to be old school. I'm going to be old school in that sense because I don't know. I've seen a lot of it go right, and I've seen a lot of it go wrong with some athletes that thought, hey, I'm in a great place, and yeah, they are at that moment. They're living in the moment, which is okay. But you got to think, a couple steps ahead and make sure that you're on the right path regardless of what happens.
There's no doubt, man. That's reality, dude. That's what. So it's like whether people want to take that information, or I say kids, people, whoever.
Yeah.
Well, they want to take that information and use it or not. Like that's life.
No, and I think that yours is very important, especially in the day and time we're living in, with all these people pulling at these kids and trying to hop on the gravy train, as my mom used to call it.
Yeah.
Having that small circle really matters, and having those people that at the end of the day you can count on, because there's a lot of people out there that will be in your corner when you're on the top of the mountain, but there's not a whole lot of people when you're in the valley that are still going to be with you.
Amen, brother. Amen, dude. That's true.
So it's just one of those things where well, I've seen it happen, and I'm sure you've seen it happen all too often, where people don't have the right support sometimes, and they may have the right support, but at the same time, the people in their circle may not have the right motives, and the best interests of the, whoever that is at heart. And so for you, I think that's super. That's great advice, is having that small circle, and then being able to, understand what, reality is. And there's nothing wrong with getting a Division II scholarship or getting a smaller Division I scholarship. Not everybody can go high level Division I. And so hear me out, especially when how many people, and I don't even have a number, how many guys are out there right now in the transfer portal looking for a home?
Sad, man.
I mean, it's crazy.
Sad.
And so
sad.
Guys, take that advantage.
That's right, man. And take that advantage. And here's the beautiful part about it. If you are that good, like in the sense of going to play at the higher level of Division I, well, the NCAA has set you up for that now. So going and taking the D2 or the smaller D1 or D3 or whatever it is you're going to play, doesn't matter the level. If you can play, and you can play at the next level, you will be found. You will be found, because that's what when the transfer portal was originally, like when that came into play, what it's really all about is to help people like you. Or that's, in my opinion, that's what it was all about, as far as letting people get their chance, providing opportunity for maybe the people that haven't got it. Because you mentioned the stories, man, of walk-ons or whatever it is. And so,
and here's even a
school and prove it. Now you can.
Here's even an example, a example that just was a couple snaps away from being in the national championship game. Trinidad Chambliss, the quarterback at Ole Miss, he was at Ferris State for a couple years before that. So guys, it can happen. I'm not saying that everybody, that's your story, but he chose a different journey. There's other guys out there that have chose a different journey that are on track. And I mean, now he has probably an opportunity to go play in the NFL, because he took that step backwards sometimes, so that, you could take that leap forward. And sometimes it's not a bad deal, especially now with the transfer portal and opportunities to be able to, those guys at James Madison probably didn't think they would ever have a chance to play for a national championship. And,
that's right.
What happened. So,
that's right.
It happens. So,
amen. That's right, man.
It's been good. And we could talk about this, for hours on end and everything like that. But I know it's, we're getting close to time, but, I want to finish with a little bit of this or that. It's kind of a fun little segment I do at the end of our shows.
Let's do it.
But I'll definitely have you back on, and we can talk football. We can maybe even get in depth of some X's and O's and do some different stuff like that too. And I like doing that stuff. But this has been some great conversations, and guys, if you're not watching this live, it'll be on YouTube. It'll be on our Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. So you guys can go back and check out some of this stuff. But it was a lot of good stuff right there that you just said, and hopefully, it helps some people out there. Whether you're an athlete, whether you're a parent, whether you're in that circle and you're trying to navigate that recruiting process, and even if you're a college athlete right now and you're trying to figure out what the next move is, maybe hopefully some of that will help you out. And so this or that, and we're going to finish with it. It's a fun little rapid fire, and then we'll close it out. And because I'm hungry and I got to go eat. So this or that, we're going to start with, all right, are you a playlist or are you a podcast guy?
Man, I'm becoming more of a podcast guy, but still currently more of a playlist guy for sure.
Okay.
I am. The podcast train is coming along for me, but playlist for sure.
I think as you get older, it's maybe more playlist type of stuff because you're always trying to, take it to the next level. But I don't know. I always like the good playlist, and I always tell everybody I'm a mood listener because I got all kinds of stuff in my, my playbook as well on Apple Music. You never know what's going to come on. It could be country music or it could be, gospel. I don't know. You never know what'll hit it. So, all right. Road trips. Are you a driver or are you a passenger?
Oh, I'm the driver for sure.
Okay. Yeah.
Driver.
People, that's been most people's answer is the driver, I think. But now if it's a longer road trip, somebody else is going to have to drive for a little bit. But most of the time, if it's a quick trip, a couple hours, I'm driving too. So,
and it depends. I'd say it depends who I'm with. It depends.
Yeah,
on
that's true.
Like who's in the pack? Am I with? Am I with all the guys? Am I with the family? There's some contingencies there, but still, even most of the time, no matter who the group is, driver for sure.
I got you. All right, and then sometimes on those road trips, you're going to need either coffee or tea. What or another drink? What do you like?
No, I'm coffee, man. I've never been a tea person. I get a lot of crap for that. Honestly, being from Oklahoma, it's like if you're from Oklahoma and you don't drink sweet tea, like people they go crazy on me sometimes. But I'm a coffee person, which only started because I started coaching college football. That's when coffee really started for me.
A lot of sleepless nights, early mornings.
Man. And so I'm not a huge energy drink person. Every now and then I'll drift off into a Red Bull or something like that. Shout out to Coach G at Oklahoma State, man, big Red Bull guy. He's kind of my guy.
I know those guys like those nicotine pouches too as well too. So I haven't got on that. I'm not on that hard stuff yet. So
no, that's not me.
I'm with you. I'm a coffee guy too. All right, here we go. Destination, beach or mountains? Or Leah Beasley, a couple interviews back, Deputy Athletic Director at Penn State. She is a lake girl. She's got a boat. She loves the lake. So it could be a 3-parter. So,
man, that's one of the hardest questions that I've always had to answer here. But I would say. And Leah put a great wrinkle in that because I'm a lake person for sure too, man. Yeah, I'm a lake person for sure. But at the end of the day, I think beach is probably where I got to go. Like that's because I love it all. And lake has a special place in my heart. But I think at the end of the day,
if you're in Oklahoma,
I have to bank on beach.
Yeah.
So, beach.
And then for sure. Spicy or mild guy with the food?
Woo. If I had to pick one, it's mild, but I'm a huge sweet and spicy. So like, like I can't say I'm a huge just like spicy everything. It's grown on me as I've gotten older. My tolerance and taste buds for spicy things has definitely gotten bigger. Like my granddad, he used to eat jalapenos straight out the jar. I ain't there yet. That ain't me, but I do like. Like chopping up a little bit of jalapeno, adding it to some meals. But like Chick-fil-A, for example, I'm going Chick-fil-A sauce with the sriracha sauce, and I mix them. So it's sweet and spicy. Like that's my go-to.
It's good. And I'll go with the spicy chicken every once in a while. I don't like the whole lot of flavor on or a whole lot of kick. But I know my family they do, but me, I'm more of a mild if I had to lean towards it. All right, here you go. Here's a good one. 2 tickets to any sporting event. Where are you going? Where are you taking the wife? Because you got to take her, right?
Yeah, that's a for sure.
I have a one. 1B answer to this. So it's
All right,
really
so hold on.
hard.
Then you go first. Let me hear yours.
I will go, since I'm a baseball guy, I will go Game 7 of the World Series or Sunday at Augusta. Would be and I'm a golfer.
Yeah.
I like to golf. So those are my two. I grew up playing baseball. That's my, but yeah, those are my two, 1A, 1B. But if I really had to pick, it would, I don't know. That's why they're 1A, 1B.
Yeah, so I would do Sunday at Augusta is for sure to me. But I say it's for sure. Augusta is a for sure destination I want to go.
Yeah.
Whether or not it would be Sunday versus the Par 3 tournament is kind of
Me too. I'm with you. I've not, I went to school. I went to high school in South Carolina and then went to college at Coastal Carolina and had a lot of opportunities to go be around Augusta, drive through Augusta. I actually played Augusta Country Club one time, which is right across the street. So I've been in Stone's Throw, but I've never been on the grounds at Augusta National. So one of these days, it's definitely a bucket list for me for sure.
Yeah, I'll leave it there. I'll leave it at Augusta for right now. My wife is, she's awesome. She's been trying to sneak, she's tried to surprise me, putting our name in for, the raffle things for Augusta and stuff like that for years. But
been on the lottery for a long time. And COVID, oddly enough, I had an opportunity with a friend of mine who had some extra tickets, and then they, it went to shut it down, and then it didn't get that opportunity in November to go. But it was one of those deals where it was close. I was almost there, and COVID happened. So that hopefully, in the near future, hopefully it'll happen. But
hey, man,
the last one is probably yes.
I hope
so. The last one is probably the toughest question. It's not really a this or that, but it's a favorite meal of all time.
And that's really hard because I consider myself like a foodie, to be honest with you. Like food has a very special place in my heart. I'd probably have to go overall. It's like, if you could just give me like a full sushi spread.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? Sushi is big, but I got a lot, man. I got a whole lot. Like my wife and I have we have, answers to this. If somebody were to come up to you and say, what's your wife's favorite meal? What's your husband's favorite meal? And put a gun to your head, you got to answer it correctly. Like we have safe answers, if you will, you know what I mean? So my safe answer with her is her spaghetti meal is elite. It's top notch. Give me a full thing of spaghetti with meat sauce and the bread and the whole thing.
All right.
We got safe answers for this thing, but overall, man, I love Asian food kind of in general. I love all kinds of food. So, but that's where the sushi probably comes into place. It's hard for me not to say just steak and lobster and seafood in general, but probably a big sushi spread of all of it is the number one thing all time. So
mine is going to be a little more down home. It's going to be my mom. She made the best homemade chicken fried steak and mashed potatoes and gravy and green beans. So I'm going, and there for me, I'm a lot. I like to barbecue. I like to smoke meat. I like to do all that stuff too. And there's a lot of answers I could go, but man, it's just something about, and I try to replicate it. My mom passed away in 2019. And I try, I get close and I'm like, man, that's kind of tape, but it's never really, the same. And so, if for me, it would be the homemade, nothing like mom's cooking. So
that's a fact. That's a fact. That's where you just touched home. You just touched home. Christmas Eve tradition in my family is vegetable soup, and my mom got that from years passed down in her family. My wife makes it now, so my mom and my wife both make it. So you just made me think of that. That might actually take the crown because we do the cornbread with it and all this stuff. So I don't know. So that's
my dad started a tradition back in the day where we were like, we're doing the ham and doing all the traditional Christmas stuff. He started barbecuing and we did ribs and brisket and stuff like that for Christmas. And so I kind of took that on a little bit, and I've even considered trying to get in some backyard competitions and stuff like that. But I like to barbecue. I've got, probably spend way too much money doing that and everything, but it's always a good treat. So, but no, We've been at it almost an hour, and this has been great. No, I appreciate you coming on, Coach, and talking a little bit, sharing kind of your wisdom and everything like that. And hopefully we'll get you on again soon in the near future. But man, thanks again for coming on. And once again, thank you to the Jeremy Hodge Auto Group down in Ardmore. Go check out their dealerships, Gridiron Spice Company, and then livaudio.com. But any final thoughts, any parting shots for anything?
Man, I appreciate you. This was a blast. Yeah, hopefully we can do this again soon. Your insight was awesome, man. Your questions were great, spot on. So I'd be thrilled to do it again, man. And shout out to the sponsors for sure, all those guys, backing you on this. And I'm a big fan, man. This was a blast. So I appreciate you. Hopefully we can do it again. And man, this was it was fun to get on here and talk some ball. That's for sure.
Absolutely, guys. Thanks again, and we'll see you again soon.